Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you've ever stood in a store staring at a wall of nonstick pans and just felt completely overwhelmed, you are not alone. Today, we're going to cut through all that marketing fluff to figure out what actually makes a cookware coating safe and non-toxic. Let's get right into it.
Right? You see all these buzzwords, green, natural, eco-friendly, but what does any of that really mean for your health? The hunt for a safe pan is a huge deal right now, and for a very good reason. This isn't just hype. It's about making sure you're not accidentally serving up harmful chemicals with your dinner.
So, this right here, this is our North Star for this whole conversation. See, a pan's safety isn't just about what it's made of on day one. The real test is what happens after months of cooking, scraping, and washing. It has to be chemically inert, meaning it doesn't react with your food, thermally stable, it doesn't break down with heat, and durable, so it doesn't wear out and create a whole new problem.
Okay, so what's the big deal? Why is everyone suddenly so worried about their pans? Well, it all comes down to a nasty group of substances called forever chemicals. These are compounds that can actually leach out of cookware, get into our food, and then, well, they stick around in our bodies and in the environment pretty much forever.
And here's the kicker. That classic nonstick pan, the one we all grew up with, it's usually coated with something called PTFE. You probably know it by its famous brand name, Teflon. And you guessed it, PTFE is a member of that forever chemical family called PFAS. And that's really the starting point for this whole investigation.
So to find a truly safe pan, we have to learn to speak the language of cookware marketing. And let me tell you, it is designed to be confusing. Brands throw around all these acronyms and claims, like boasting about titanium-infused coatings, without telling you what the titanium is actually infused into. Some of this stuff is seriously misleading.
First up, the big one, PFAS. The easiest way to think of this is like the big problematic family name. These are the forever chemicals we're trying to avoid. They just don't break down easily, and their persistence in our bodies is linked to a whole bunch of health concerns.
Now let's zoom in on a specific member of that family, PTFE. This is the actual nonstick stuff, made famous as Teflon. And here's the real danger, overheating. An empty nonstick pan can skyrocket past 500 degrees Fahrenheit in less than 2 minutes on a hot burner. When that happens, it can release toxic fumes that are known to cause flu-like symptoms in people and can be fatal to pet birds.
And finally, there's PFOA. Now this one's a little different. It wasn't the coating itself, but a chemical used to make the PTFE coating stick to the pan. Because of some really serious health concerns, it was completely phased out of use in the US way back in 2015. And this little fact is absolutely crucial for what we're about to see next.
And here is the big trick. When you see a PFOA-free label on a pan today, it's basically meaningless. It's a marketing gimmick. Since nobody has used PFOA for years, saying a pan is PFOA-free is like bragging that a new car has no asbestos in the brakes. It tells you nothing about the pan's real safety. It can, and very often does, still have a PTFE coating, which means it's still a source of PFAS. It's a classic case of greenwashing. So with old-school nonstick off the table, what did everyone switch to?
Well, that brings us to the most popular modern alternative you see everywhere these days, the ceramic nonstick pan. Now, it's a huge step up from Teflon in some really important ways, but its safety, well, it kind of has an expiration date.
First off, let's be super clear. These pans are not solid ceramic. They're almost always an aluminum pan with a really thin spray-on coating made from a form of sand. It's applied using a method called sol gel, and to make it all stick together, it requires synthetic polymer binders. Think of them as a special kind of glue. And those binders, they are the secret weak spot in this whole system.
Yep, those polymer binders are the weak link. Just look at this timeline. The pan starts off amazing, super slick, looks great, but every single time you cook, the heat and the washing start to break down those binders. Before you know it, often in just a year or two, your eggs start sticking, the coating starts to wear away, and you can expose that reactive aluminum core underneath.
So let's break it down. On the plus side, these pans are genuinely PFAS-free. That is a huge win. You can't accidentally overheat them and release those toxic fumes. But the cons are pretty major. They just don't last. And once that coating starts to go, you run the risk of aluminum leaching into your food, especially if you're cooking with acidic things like tomato sauce. So it's safer than Teflon, for sure, but it's not a permanent, truly safe solution.
So, if those popular ceramic-coated pans aren't the forever answer, what is? Let's get to the good stuff. Let's look at the options that really check all our boxes from the beginning. inert, stable, and built to last.
And this leads us to a really powerful idea. Maybe the safest cookware doesn't rely on a factory-applied chemical layer that's pretty much designed to fail over time. Maybe the best options use materials that are just inherently safe or have surfaces that you create and control yourself. Okay, first up, natural seasoning on good old cast iron or carbon steel. This isn't a coating that comes from a factory. It's a non-stick surface you literally build yourself. By heating thin layers of oil, the oil transforms into a hard, durable layer, a process called polymerization. It has zero synthetic chemicals, and if it ever gets messed up, you just make it again. The trade-off? Yeah, it needs a little love. You have to hand wash it and keep it dry. But for a pan that can last for generations, that's a pretty small price to pay. Next up, we have glass-based enamel. Just picture this. They take molten glass, infuse it to a solid cast iron base at over 1,500 degrees. What you get is this beautiful, slick, and completely non-reactive surface. That means you can simmer a big pot of tomato sauce for hours and not worry one bit about anything leaching into it. The downside? These pans can be heavy and a bit pricey, and since the surface is glass, it can chip if you drop it.
And that brings us to the gold standard, 100% pure ceramic. Now, this isn't a coating. The entire pan is made from natural clay and minerals, then it's fired in a kiln at insane temperatures, up to 2,400 degrees. There's no metal core, no glues, no polymer binders. This means there is absolutely, positively nothing that can leach into your food, ever. Its only weakness isn't about safety, it's about toughness. It's more fragile and can crack if you drop it or expose it to a sudden temperature shock.
All right, we've gone through the science, we've debunked the marketing, and we've looked at the best materials out there. So how do you actually pick the right pan for you and your kitchen? Let's wrap this all up with a simple guide.
This chart really lays it all out. If you want something that's basically indestructible, can handle super high heat for a perfect sear, and you don't mind a little bit of upkeep, seasoned cast iron or carbon steel is your absolute champion. If you prefer something that's super easy to care for, totally non-reactive, and still really durable, as long as you're careful not to drop it, enamel is a fantastic choice. And if your #1 top priority is purity and you're willing to handle your cookware with a little extra care, then 100% pure ceramic is simply unbeatable.
So, when you get right down to it, that slick, easy convenience of a lot of modern non-stick pans just comes with an expiration date on its safety. The truly safe options, well, they might ask for a bit more care or a bigger upfront investment, but what they give you in return is peace of mind that can literally last a lifetime. The choice is yours.